Hi everybody and welcome to our 1.3 support video. Just a couple quick notes here for 1.3. There's a lot of vocab involved, so we just want to make sure that we're being really clear about the difference between parentheses and our brackets. So with parentheses, we have open dots and we have signs like less than or greater than. With brackets, we have shaded dots and we have signs like less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. So those little details, they do matter. So just make sure when you're labeling those, that will be the difference between a correct and an incorrect answer. So be really, really careful labeling your parentheses and showing, are we just less than or are we less than and equal to something. Outside of that though, strong recommendation to make sure that you're on the right track here is to make sure that you take these questions and you put them onto number lines. So if we had something like, let's say x is greater than or equal to 6, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are taking our little number line here, putting a little dot at 6, and we have to determine, okay, what's happening. So the first thing that we notice here is that we are looking at an equal to sign there, so we know that we're going to have a nice shaded in dot because it is equal to 6. So we're going to start with that. And then the second thing is in words, this is telling us x is greater than 6. So the x is the one that is being eaten by the alligator. So if you think of this greater than or equal to sign as a little alligator, it's got its big old teeth. I know, I'm an artist. It's a calling that I missed. So if this alligator is eating our x, what that means is we're going to go to the right. So if your variable is being eaten, we are going to the right side. So that's what we are going to look like there. So we want to start with our statement with our parentheses and brackets, reading our number line from the left to the right. So the first thing that we see on the left side of this is we see a nice closed circle. So we're going to start with a bracket, and that occurs at the number 6. Comma, our next part is, where does this end at the right? And sometimes it doesn't end. If you see an arrow, that means it just keeps going forever. So we're going to say our good old friend infinity. And infinity, you never actually get there, you never actually equal to it. You can spend your whole life trying, but you'll just get closer and closer without fully reaching it. So we always use parentheses for that. So our interval notation for this question, the final answer that you would want to type in would be bracket 6, comma, infinity, parentheses. So that is one aspect of things. And just a quick side note here, if we had something like 6 is less than or equal to x, that would actually be the same thing. So if we focus in on here, our value, our sign, if I were to do the same thing with the alligator, and I were to give this thing the cringy little teeth and draw my terrible stick figure again, what we're going to see is the alligator is still eating the x. So as long as the alligator is still eating the x, we're going to go to the right. So for this one, same number line. If we start off at 6, nice shading. Because the x is being eaten by the alligator, we are still going to the right. So it is, in fact, the exact same number line there. So from there, second options that we can see is what happens if we have something like 2 is less than x is less than or equal to 4, something like this. Now, this gets a little bit more complicated because we have two different things that are going on. It looks, to be honest, a little bit worse than it actually is. So my advice when you see something like this is break it down into two different things. So we have 2 is less than x. That's one thing that we need to focus on. And then a second thing that we need to focus on is x is less than or equal to 4. So this is actually just asking you two questions at once. So we'll take them one step at a time. So for our first one, the alligator is eating the x, so we're going to go to the right. And we have a nice open dot here because there's no equal to sign under it. For our second one, the alligator is not eating the x, it's not eating our variable, so we're going to go to the left. And because it is or equal to, we're going to have a nice shaded in dot. So when we see two arrows that come together, what that basically means here is that they form a nice solid line here. So you don't need to think about it as arrows anymore. If two arrows converge, they go together. It's just showing us an interval. So with our parentheses and brackets, just like before, we want to start on the left. So an open dot means parentheses, a closed dot means brackets. Our number on the left is 2, comma, our finishing position is 4. So our interval here is parentheses 2, comma, 4 with a bracket. As always, if you got questions, let us know, but hopefully this guide will help with both parentheses and brackets and also determining should I go to the left or should I go to the right.